Hey guys, I'm the Hollywood Digerati, and on today's episode, we're gonna review the next episode in the Assassination of Gianni Versace, episode 4, titled House by the Lake. So let's get right to it. So the episode starts off with time travel. Yes, time travel again, and this time we go back 1 week. 1 week before Lee Miglin's murder, and we're in the beautiful city of Minneapolis, which has to do something with water. The camera zooms in on this guy, this cute blonde guy. His name is David. David is really happy. He's like, they said yes. And Andrew says to him, I'm happy for you. And then David is like, you know, I know we said some things we regret this weekend. So they're kind of alluding to a fight. They probably had a fight in the past few days. And David's like, you know, oh, I'm sorry. I probably said some mean things. But Andrew's like, he does this creepiness. He does this. I don't regret anything I said. That was so creepy, wasn't it? I mean, he just said it in such like a serious tone. I don't regret anything I did. It's so creepy. Then the buzzer rings and it's Jeff. Jeff is this third guy that's involved with this. And Andrew's like, oh, Jeff's here. Can you go answer the door? Because apparently they can't buzz people in from the apartment. They have to actually go down to open the door. I guess the buzzer's broken. He reluctantly goes down to answer the door. And as he's going down, Andrew's like, you know, it'll give you a chance to talk about me, to speak about me, which is a weird thing to say, even though it's probably 100% true. But anyway, David goes down and he meets Jeff, who's played by Finn Wittrock, who's been used many times in American Horror Story and a bunch of other stuff. So when David goes down to open the door for Jeff, it's revealed that him and Jeff have a pre-existing relationship. And Jeff asks him, does he have any idea? And David's like, he does. He knows. He has this feline intuition. And Jeff is incredulous. He's like, no, that's not possible. I mean, like, how? And Jeff tells David that the reason he's even there at that moment is to get something that Andrew stole from him. And that thing that he stole is a gun. And so they all get back to the apartment. At the 5-minute mark, Andrew hammers Jeff to death. Like, he does like 1,000,000 blows to his head. And I'm like, what the hell? It's like, this is just the 5-minute mark. Like, what the F is going on? It was shocking. I was really shocked, or as they say, shook. So after Andrew kills Jeff, we're kind of left in limbo because, you know, I don't know what's going to happen because I know this is based on real events, but I didn't read Wikipedia or any of the news articles to know exactly who dies in what order. I didn't want to know because, you know, I want my reactions to be fresh. But I was scared that he was going to kill David at that moment. But he doesn't kill him. He just goes to him and he just gives him this like warm, embracing hug. A creepy ass hug. Then Andrew switches over into this like mothering mode and he kind of starts treating David like a little toddler. And he's like, oh, lift your hands up. I'm gonna take off your shirt. And then they shower together and he's like kind of babying him. So after the shower, David's like, you killed Jeff. Like, why? And Andrew just calmly says, you know, I lost control. And then David is like, you gotta call the police. And he starts to become a little bit hysterical. And I'm like in my mind going, okay, you know that Andrew's a psycho. You need to calm the F down and then try to escape from there or call 911 on your own without him seeing. It's like right now, you know, acting crazy is not gonna lead anywhere good. So David insists that the police should get involved, and Andrew's like, no, you're crazy. You know, if you call the police, it happened in your apartment, you can't tell your father, the police hate us because we're gay. And he's kind of making some sense, and in a lot of the stuff, it's like, well, it is kind of logical. Like, if he did call his dad, and the dad doesn't call the police, then he becomes an accessory to the crime. So it's a lot of stuff to process. So apparently David takes my advice. I guess he can hear me screaming at the TV and he calms down and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna walk the dog. And while I'm walking the dog, I'll probably call the police. I mean, that's what I'm thinking he's thinking. But, you know, Andrew's not having it. He's like, well, were you leaving? And he's like, no, I'm gonna walk the dog. Well, you can't walk it without me. And Andrew's, you know, adamant that, you know, he shouldn't be going out by himself. They end up rolling the body in a rug and they put it onto the side and then they go out for the walk. And, while they're going for the walk, you know, David's like terrified. He's like terrified and you can tell that he's acting weird. He was acting weird in the elevator. He's acting weird on the street. and it seems like he wants to cry for help, but he's just petrified. He's like petrified with fear. He's like a real wuss. I mean, if it was me, the minute I hit the sidewalk, I'd be like, get away from me, you psycho, get away from me, and I'd like push him to the ground or something and run away. I mean, I would like, you know, literally try to save my life, like literally save my life. While on the dog walk, David makes Andrew promise that nobody else is gonna get hurt. And Andrew promises that nobody else will get hurt. So out of the blue, David's boss shows up at his apartment, which is kind of weird. I mean, I would be freaked out if my boss came and did that here. They end up getting the manager to open the apartment door, and David's boss walks in and sees like blood on the floor, on the walls, and something does not seem right. I mean, something's wrong. So they call the cops. So the cops get involved. The cops arrive and they start asking, you know, so who lived here? And he's like, David. Did he have a girlfriend? Like, no, he was gay. And then I think you can see some judgment in their faces after they learn he's gay. And then they start going through his stuff, and they see porn and stuff, and they're like, yeah, you know, these gay guys, they get into rough sex. It's a gay thing. And eventually they find the rug with the body. And as you guys know, it wasn't David's body because David is blonde and the dead guy, you know, he has black hair. They then show us a flashback of David's of when he was a kid. And it's basically the title of the episode, The House by the Lake. It was his, I guess, I don't know, hunting house or... And basically in the flashback, they show us that David's a really kind kid. We then cut to Andrew and David on the road, and Andrew starts talking about, you know, what they're gonna do next. And the plan is they're gonna go to Chicago, meet Lee Miglin, and he's gonna give them some money to escape to Mexico. That's the plan. Of course, during all of this, David is becoming super paranoid, and they stop at a rest stop, some bathroom in some park. And as David's coming out, he sees some lady in a car look at him, make eye contact with him, and he immediately feels like she knows that, you know, they're running away from a murder scene. But Andrew calms him down and is like, no, everything's fine. You know, there's no internet. He doesn't say that, but there's no internet. So there's no way she could know. They then show us a dive bar where there's a lady on a stage singing a song called Who's Gonna Drive You Home? I think that's the name of the song. And Andrew's like really moved by it. Like you can see that he's becoming teary-eyed. He cries. And during this, David decides to go to the bathroom. And while he's in the bathroom, he has a chance to escape, but he doesn't. I mean, that really shocked me. It's like he could have run at that point. He could have jumped out that window, but he didn't. That was really confusing. But I guess Andrew's mind control over David is that strong. We then see another flashback of David's, and we go to that moment when he came out to his father. And we learned that his father took it pretty well, so we know his father's a good guy. After that, we see Andrew and David in a diner. And this is actually my favorite scene in the episode. And we see David saying to Andrew how charmed he was when he first met him. He's like, I never met someone who was so charming and sophisticated. I mean, you sent over a drink to me. I mean, who does that in real life? Because, you know, that's something you only see in the movies. And he's kind of like telling Andrew all these good things that he wants to hear. But that's when David switches and he's like, but it was all an act. It was all fake. It was all an act. You know, you didn't work for anything you have. To which Andrew replies, what's wrong with you? And at that moment, Andrew starts deflecting. And he's like, oh, if you like San Francisco, you're going to love Mexico. There's a Mandarin Oriental down there. We can tell the waiters we're movie stars from LA and this and that. Which makes David say to him, you can't do it, can you? And Andrew's like, what? Stop. Stop lying. He just can't stop lying. And in the final scene of the episode, we see Andrew and David, you know, on the road driving. And David finally comes to the realization that Andrew had planned this all along. And David, in his rage, tries to steer the car off the road, to which Andrew reacts by pulling out his gun and putting it on his chest and immediately saying, we had a plan. And you guys notice that he said that? We had a plan. And I was like, had? I mean, we have a plan. No, had. So in his mind, his mind's made up. It's over. It's not going to happen. Mexico, the whole dream life has ended. They make it out into a field, and Andrew says to David, why couldn't you run away with me? And he starts running, and that's when Andrew just shoots him in the back. In the very final scene, he's still alive. David's alive, and he starts putting up his hands, and he just shoots him in the eye. I mean, it was like really intense. So my final review about this episode is that it's good. It's getting better, if that's even possible. I mean, how can it be actually be getting better? But it is. I mean, this episode was so serious in tone, but like really good. And I don't know if it was because they had cute actors. There were a lot of cute actors in this one, but the storyline is just so engrossing, and it just draws you in so much. I really, really enjoyed it. And I think you guys did too. Anyways, guys, if you like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also come back next week when I review episode 5 of The Assassination of Gianni Versace. I'm the Hollywood Digerati, and I'm out.